Right, welcome to our how-to guide on how to set up programmable functions on your Miele T1 tumble dryer. Now I'm doing this for one specific reason. The manual is wrong. It doesn't work. Try following the manual, it doesn't work. Do it this way and it will. But actually, while I'm also doing this, I'll also explain what each function does. Right, first things first. You need to open the door, then turn on the machine. Right, first things first, I'm going to repeat this process a few times to show you. So what you're supposed to do in my version is you hold down the start button, shut the door, it will start flashing, and within 3 seconds press it 5 times. Ready? There we go. So we have now entered. Right. When the display comes up, it will come up with 0, 0. To go between each programmable function, press the start to move about. Now, this is 0, 0. There is some kind of programmable function there, but it's not mentioned within the user manual. So we'll move on. P, 0, 0. So basically, if you notice, as I'm going along, it's going up. So P00 has nothing programmed into it whatsoever. See? So P1 is the cotton's drying level. If we press start, we'll notice it's at 0.4. Now you have 7 settings for this. Obviously 0.4 is factory. You got then a little dryer, and even dryer. So what you want to do is once you've used the normal dry setting on your cottons, if you're finding it maybe ever so slightly damp or whatever, if you want it to dry for a little longer, this is what you do. So you then can go a little drier, a bit more dry, etc. However, if you're finding it starting to over dry things, maybe drying it for too long, then go backwards to a little damper, and even damper. This is because your water affects how your sensor works. Anyway, once you're happy with the setting, press start again, and we've gone back to P01. P02 is minimum iron drying levels. Again, press start. We have 7 levels. Same again. This affects the minimum iron cycle. That's that one. Program 4 is cool down temperature. Now it looks like obviously that there's a P03 as well, but not set on this dryer. The more upmarket Mieles will probably have it set in and put in their music. Cool down temperature. Now, we'll press start. Now it's default at 16. This is factory default of 55 degrees centigrade. So once the dryer is satisfactory that the clothes are dry, it will enter the cool down mode. If the temperature is too hot, for example, for you, you can now adjust this in 1 degree steps. So we've got 54 degrees, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40. Down to 40 degrees. However, realistically, 16 is fine. Because 55 is safe to the touch. But there's another reason why. It's very unlikely that the dryer will actually get to 55 degrees. at all. The only time it will is probably on hygiene dry only. So it's worth bearing that in mind. If you select any of the normal settings, it won't really get past 40, 42, 43, 44 degrees. P5 is the buzzer volume. You can press it. We've got 1, which is default, and 2 is louder. But this is the buzzer volume. We'll stick with 1. P6 is the keypad tone. 1 is factory. 2 is louder. There you are. That is louder. Actually, I might keep it louder. And 0 is off. No, thank you. We'll have it on. Actually, we're going to set it to 2. I kind of like it at that loud. Buzzer, I don't like it too loud. If anything, I want it off half the time. P07, lock code. Now on this, you can set it so when you come to use the tumble dryer, you have to enter a code using these buttons. But there's only one problem, and that is that you can only have a pin code of 250. It's preset to that, and you can't adjust it. If you were to have the commercial version of the same dryer, you can. Anyway, 0's off, 1's on. We're going to leave it off for now. 8, conductivity. Now again, this is to do with the water. And basically, you should only select this on setting 2 if you have extremely soft water. We have relatively medium to soft water here, so we're not going to do that. Then P11 is control field standby status. To save energy, the time display and sensor controls will go out once the program has been running for 10 minutes. In this case, start add laundry sensor controls flashes slowly. However, there is no switch off in the event of a fault. This is something I do want to change, so we're going to go on. 1 is on factory setting. They will go off after 10 minutes unless there's a fault. 0, they won't go off at all. The only time they'll go off is at the end of the program. Saying it's off, like I have, means that the display will just never go out until you turn it off. This is something I want, so we're going to leave it on. Right, so P13 is the memory setting. You can have 0 for off or 1 for on. We're going to leave it to off. But it's a feature you may or may not want. Personally, have it on if you're more inclined to just using one particular setting. What this memory function does, remember the dryness level and any options that will last selected that isn't time delay. Time delay is never remembered. So if you select, say, extra dry with dry care, it will remember it. If you select warm air, dry fresh, and select it for an hour, it will remember it the next time you go on. But if you change that setting and then set a new program, so let's say you go on cottons, but then change from extra dry to hand iron with dry care 40, the next time you go back on cottons, it'll be hand iron and dry care 40. And this is what I'm saying. If you're always wanting extra dry with dry care on cottons cycle, use the memory setting, and every time, then all you have to do is turn it to the second setting and away you go. P14. Right, there is 2 settings for this. You can have 02, which is 2 hours, 01 is 1 hour, and 00 is 0 hours. This is for the anti-crease stage. Now, for me, I'm going to select 1 hour. This is because actually, when I run this dryer, by the time I get back to it, it's been running for 14 hours. So the 2 hours is a bit pointless. We'll select 1 hour just in case I do come back. P15 is not labelled here in the manual at all. And there's no adjustment for it. P16 is in, but you can't adjust it. P17 you can't adjust despite being put in. P18 again can't adjust. And then P19. So P19 is buzzer active. The buzzer sounds to let you know when the program has finished. I want this on. It sounds daft, but I like you having it on. It will repeatedly go on for about 5 minutes after the cycle has finished. You've been warned. You can also change whether you want the buzzer volume to be on default or louder via the earlier setting. Bit odd how they put the buzzer active much later on than the actual buzzer volume. Weird that. But anyway, we're going to switch it on. P20 is Airway's indicator. So you've got a couple of settings here. You've got normal, heavy, turned off completely, or if you go to 3, light. So I'm going to put this on light. So what light's going to do will actually kind of remind me every single time I go to change the load, basically. It's going to remind me at the end of the cycle, every single cycle, no matter what I drive. Normal will probably remind you if you've done a full load. Heavy's going to just come up more after a couple of loads, or if it really just can't breathe anymore. If you turn it off completely, it won't remind you at all, but you want it on. But all that is a little light up there. It doesn't send a beep out, it doesn't warn, it's just a light, that's it. P21, again, not listed. I find it odd how, like, there are P options that are here but not listed and you can't change, but there are obviously numbers missing that aren't listed and not even can't change on here. P22 is the backlight brightness. So the brightness of the dim sensors in the control field can be set to one of 7 settings. The brightness changes as soon as you select a different setting. So it's selected at 2, which is factory default. 1 is the darkest, and then it goes all the way up to 7. Of course, if you go to 7, you can't tell the difference at all. That all looks the same. So when you select this option, you're not going to be able to tell. Personally, just set 2's already set. I'd say it to 1. I'd rather do that. It stands out like a sore thumb. Why you'd want to go to 7, no idea. Just make things really confusing for yourself. Right, that's all 22 settings there. What is odd is in this instruction manual there is further P settings. So P24, P31 and P32 functions are only displayed if the requirements of the Miele at home have been met. In other words, the other 3 settings that are available, that I might do on as a second video actually at some point, are programmable once you've already programmed it in to mobile start. So they're there. Right, thanks for watching this how-to video on how to change the settings. I hope it's helped you at home. It's helped me finally, and I've now finally set up the dryer how I've wanted to. Don't forget to give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more how-to videos. There is a how-to playlist if you would like to subscribe to that instead. And of course, don't forget to please leave a comment below if this helped you. Also, let me know if you found yourself in the same predicament as I did, going through the manual and it wasn't working. Right, I have been Witchwasher, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye for now.